Take a quick moment here to shoot this video for my YouTube channel on this motorcycle. Now, I've seen a lot of videos for the past year or two, and I was looking at the XPro Roadster, and I was watching those videos, and then I seen the this model here, the XPro Adventure. Now, the XPro Roadster, it has that ninja look, but this one here, it looks more like the R3. And when I went to look to buy it, like about 7 or 8 months ago, these were out of stock everywhere. Like anywhere that they were sold, they were out of stock. And then about a couple months ago, I saw that they were all back in stock. Now, these things are sold just like the Roadster and all these other XPro bikes and Batachi and all that. They're sold everywhere. I picked mine up and I paid my own cash for mine. I'm not paid. No one sent me a bike for free or anything like that. I picked mine up from Power Sports Max. You know, like a lot of companies that I did research on, some of these companies don't have good feedback for whatever reasons, but I decided to go with Power Sports Max. And of course, this model here is called the Adventure. It's not the Roadster. And I think the main difference, as I mentioned, the Roadster is more of a ninja clone, but I don't really like those side gill things that it has on the side. I like this better. I like it. Looks like the R3, and I like that styling better, especially the front. I kind of like the way that the headlights are. I don't like, I'm gonna call it like an eagle eye look on some of those other bikes, like the Roadster. This one here has more of like, I'm not sure which way to put it, but I like the look of the lenses on this bike, on the front part of it. These mirrors here are not the actual mirrors that came with the bike. These I got separate. And as far as things that I've done to the bike, the only thing that I've done so far is change the oil. I do have a spark plug that I have not put in, and maybe in a few more weeks I am going to check the valves. I have everything that I need, the fueler gauges, and the I guess it's like a wrench for adjustment. And I've seen a few videos on how it's done, so I'm gonna check them and see what the clearance is on them. Going back to ordering this bike, what I did, and maybe it's not the best idea to do, but I actually went and I bought money orders. I think I had to buy like 3 of them because there's a limit of like $1,000. So I bought 3 money orders, and of course when you buy something with money orders, it doesn't really give you the protections that, you know, other forms of purchasing do, like with a credit card. But I went ahead and I did it that way because it saved like probably close to $100. So as I mentioned, I bought this from Power Sports Max, and they're not paying me in any which way. I bought this shit with my own cash, and it took about maybe 5 days for the money orders to get to them. And I gave them a call and they acknowledged that they had received them, and then it took maybe another 3 days for the money orders to get processed by them. And then from there it got shipped with a Roadrunner, and that took like about another week. And the first attempt at delivery, the truck's lift gate didn't work, so they had to cancel it, but they did come through the following day. I got the bike. I luckily, you know, no scratches or anything. The box looked good. So that's how I ended up getting this bike. One thing that I am going to do to it is I'm going to remove some of the decals that can be removed. When I used to go on YouTube and watch all these guys with their bikes, I always try to figure out how well put on these decals are. Now some of them, like I took this one here off. This one was easy. It just, you could basically just peel it away, and it did leave a residue that I'm gonna have to get out with WD-40 or something. But some of these right here, like this one here, they're really under the clear coat, and I think trying to remove this is gonna be a huge freaking pain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap this with a vinyl wrap. I think that's gonna be, because I want like an all white type of look on the bike. I don't want like this right here. You know, this decal here, no matter how hard it is, or no matter how much residue, at least it's a smaller one. So I'm gonna remove that one manually. But this here, I'm not gonna remove. I'm just gonna wrap it, etc. And then I got some like decals of my own that I want to put on. As far as the bike, I've never ridden a bike like this, you know, with gears, you know, like a manual bike. And I will say, you know, this engine, it's supposedly a 250cc, but technically it's like 223cc. And I will say for a starter bike, I think that's about as much engine as you need, because I mean, I've ridden it several times, and it has enough get up and go, in my opinion. I haven't ridden it anything past like 30-35 miles an hour so far. And I don't really plan on riding in the highway. I live in the New York City area, so I'm just gonna ride it here in the streets. I have it out in Long Island right now. And I think for city riding, this bike has plenty of juice, if you will. So just quickly going back to the riding part, as I mentioned, I've never ridden a bike with manual gears, or definitely not anything this size. I would say the first thing that caught me by surprise is the engine braking. I didn't know that when you release the throttle in like first or second or even third gear, that you would get the amount of engine braking that you get. That sort of caught me by surprise. I did a little research on it, and I spoke to a few people that do ride, and I also asked a few people online about that. And from what I understand and everything that I've seen and heard, it seems like it's these single cylinder or two cylinder bikes that tend to do that. It's no major deal for me. It took a little bit of getting used to, and as I said, it definitely caught me by surprise. I thought it would be more scooter like, where if you let go off the throttle, you know, the bike would just basically coast along. But not with these. As soon as you, in first and second gear especially, as soon as you let go off that throttle, the bike is definitely going to start slowing down, and you're definitely going to feel it. As far as, you know, one thing that I always thought about these bikes, as I said, I haven't ridden anything this size or anything with gears. I thought it was going to be a little bit harder to maneuver, but it's really not. The bike almost feels like a bicycle to me. For slow speed turns, which I've been practicing a lot, I've been using the mostly the friction zone in first gear, and it does have like a little bogging sometimes. I just press it in just a little bit more, but on flat level ground, just the friction zone lets me complete circles and slow speed turns easily. So I will say I kind of got used to the bike fairly quick. Like on the first ride, I realized that it wasn't going to be so hard to actually maneuver. What I haven't really practiced too much, because I practiced it a little bit, but I realized I'm not that good at it, it's downshifting. Like, I usually tend to just stay in whatever gear I'm in until I actually have to like stop, and then I just bring the clutch in. So for the city driving that I've been doing, or suburban driving that I've been doing, I've basically mostly done most of it in third gear. And as I come to a stop, I'll bring the clutch in and then drop the gears. Or if I'm turning without having to stop, I'll just usually bring it into second and use the clutch to sort of, you know, like manage power, I guess. And then keep going. The bike, on the first start, when I started this thing a few weeks ago, on the first start, like all of these bikes, it did cut off after a minute, and I think it has to do with either the valves maybe being too tight and needing to be adjusted properly, or it could be the spark plug, or it could be that T-map sensor that I have not bought yet, but I will eventually, to see if maybe that helps. And it does tend to do that when you first start it, but after you ride it, if you let it sit, it doesn't cut off like it does when you first start it. It'll cut off maybe once and then twice, and then once you ride it, it doesn't really do that anymore. If you ride it for a few minutes or whatever, and you park it in neutral, it actually will not cut out. So it seems like it's something that happens more or less when the bike is still cold. I guess once it's been warmed up properly, it doesn't cut out like that. But I'm still gonna check the valves for proper timing. As I said, I haven't done much with the bike. The only thing that I've purchased for it is like this phone mount here. The mirrors, I do have a camera like pole thing that you put, like where I put the phone there, but I took it off because I eventually ended up buying a helmet mount for the camera that I was using to do a little bit of filming with the rides. It came with, I'm not sure why, it said 2 miles on the odometer. I think I got it up to like 31 miles. This is my third ride that I did today. Just, you know, practicing the shifting and slow turns and things like that. I still haven't put like Loctite on those right there. I'm gonna have to do that in the near future. This one here was actually a little bit loose. I checked it today and it was something that I had to tighten up. The chain also, I will have to check the if it's, I doubt that at this point it's loosened up, but I will be checking that. I'm not sure what the tolerance is, but I'm gonna see if there's a tool, or pretty sure there's something that you can like pull it properly to check the tension on it. I don't think it's loose right now. Yeah, doesn't seem too loose or too tight, but I could be wrong. I have to check that. This plate holder here, it almost looks like it could be a two-piece thing to be able to take apart, but I don't really think it is. And I bought like a little license plate holder thing, but I'm not sure how the hell I would be able to get the turn signals hooked up with that. So I'm not even sure if I'm going to install it. I think what I'm going to do is probably just cut this part right here to get rid of this part here that just doesn't look as nice as if it were trimmed down. So far so good with this bike. And like I said, I thought I'd put up a video because I think there's only one other, maybe 2 videos that I've seen on the XPro Adventure. One is that dude that was doing a trip in Alaska, who ended up running it wasn't a pothole, it was something different, and he cracked the rim. And the other is like a quick video of somebody showing how to assemble it. So why not a third or whatever video this is, you know, showing the bike close up. The exhaust, I haven't gotten the bike inspected yet. I don't know if putting a new exhaust would affect the inspection, but for now I'm just going to leave the stock exhaust so that it has no issues passing inspection. you know, at first it kind of bothered me because that fucking exhaust is big. But it doesn't bother me too much right now as far as the looks. And as far as the sound of the bike, you know what, even with this exhaust, it doesn't sound bad at all, to be quite honest. Maybe I'm not as picky as other people. And to be quite honest, I really don't care too much about how the bike sounds. But that said, it does sound pretty good. It doesn't sound like a fucking scooter or some shit like that. It actually has a good little rumble sound to it that I kind of like. So at first I was gonna try to find something, you know, different, but I think I'm just gonna probably end up staying with that exhaust. It doesn't sound bad at all, and I really don't need a bike to be any louder than it is, especially riding it where I'm riding it in this fucking neighborhood out here in Long Island. Yeah, I come out here like every Friday, and the fucking neighbors are probably hating my ass going around and around the same blocks. So if that thing keeps it quiet, that's cool. So far so good. One more thing. As far as buying these bikes, and I've made these comments on some of the YouTube videos that I've seen. Like, this is regarding, you know, Chinese bikes. You know, people talk about Chinese bikes and Chinese made things. I don't shout out people, but I'll shout out Carlos. I think his last name is Vargas. He's like, he has some DJ related content on his channel. Okay, the video got a little cut off. Going back, a little shout out to Carlos because, you know, he threw up some pretty nice videos of riding in upstate New York somewhere of his XPro Roadster. And I put up a few comments on videos like his with regards to people talking about Chinese quality and Chinese bikes. Now, I work in the city, and I'll tell you right now, in New York City, there's a huge market, I'll say market / operation of, sorry about that, this fucking phone, I keep pressing the wrong button there and it just keeps cutting out on me. There's a huge operation in New York City when it comes to the food delivery business. And I happen to work in a field where I see these guys all the time. And the scooters that they use to deliver food, all of those scooters are Chinese scooters from a whole bunch of different companies. And I'll tell you, if there were ever any proving grounds for any product, including these scooters that they use, which are all Chinese made, okay, it's definitely going to be New York City. We got the hottest summers, we got the freaking coldest winters, we got the worst fucking traffic, stop and go, we got the worst damn streets, potholes. Some of those potholes are sinkholes everywhere, okay? And these people are riding these bikes every day of the year in fucking rain, snow, summer heat, and everything. And I'll tell you what, I talk to these guys all the time. These bikes are not breaking down. Those engines are not breaking down either. And those things are going and going and going. So, I'm not going to say that these are the best quality bikes, etc., etc., but use a little bit of common sense. And then that leads me to the subject of why buy a bike like this, right? Well, for me, two reasons. As I mentioned, I'm not taking this fucking bike on the highway. I'm not even trying to ride the fucking highway here in New York City. I'm not trying to be on the Cross Bronx. I'm not trying to be on the Bruckner Expressway. Not with the fucking way that people drive out here, number one. Number two, the amount of freaking cracks and potholes and shit that are on those roads across Bronx, the Bruckner, the FDR, okay? And even worse than those two things is the amount of debris and shit that falls off of people's cars, the shit that falls off of people's trucks. I'm not getting anywhere near those highways. Definitely not trying to die. So I'm just going to use this shit on local streets, ride that way, right? Have a little fun with the bike, right? So if it's for the highway, some people are going to argue that, well, this bike doesn't have enough power. Some people say that this bike doesn't have enough power or speed. They might have a pretty good argument as to why not to get it. But if it doesn't apply, then this is definitely a pretty decent choice. And I'm not even going to go into the cost of what this cost. This shipped was like $21.89, right? But one of the main reasons that I got this shit is because this is something new. So whatever is done to this bike, I know exactly what it was. Whatever maintenance, whatever changes, whatever things I did to it, I know exactly what has been done on this bike. And the same cannot be said for buying a used Ninja 300 or a used R3, as some people say. Well, you know, you could get for the same price, you could get a used Ninja. But you know what? No matter what kind of bike it is, when you buy something used, whether it be a car or a motorcycle, you don't know what the hell was done. You don't know what bolt was replaced with a bolt from Home Depot that no one really knows what the sheer strength of that bolt might be, and the shit could fucking pop on you. You just don't know. But with this here, you know everything that's been done, and that right there was like one of the main reasons why I went this route. I could have, here in the city, I could easily picked up a used R3 or Ninja for about the same price or maybe a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I don't know the history of the bike. I don't know what's been done to it, what could fall off or pop or whatever. This here, I know everything that's going to be done. So I know the entire maintenance record. That was a huge factor in why I purchased this bike. So, and there it is, the XPro Adventure, which was out of stock for a long time, but I think in when was it, in April, I saw it back in stock damn near everywhere. I'm going to end up taking, this is my third ride, and I think I got the thing that was getting me was that coming out of first gear without stalling. Not that I would stall, but I was having like very little control over the throttle. So it took a little bit of practice to, you know, sort of link up between the clutch and the throttle. What I was doing early on was I was either wasn't letting go quickly enough of the let me rephrase it. I was probably letting go too quick of the clutch, and the bike would start bogging down. And then the other thing that I was doing was giving it a lot of throttle, but I guess not engaging the clutch in quick enough. I was probably still in the play zone, and the fucking RPMs were going up like crazy, but I wasn't engaging the clutch. I think I saw a video where the dude said he advised for you to, when you're at the stop sign or red light or whatever, to start releasing the clutch until you start feeling the bike move forward, and then like hold it with the brake. Well, I haven't been holding it with the brake, but at least I have the clutch like where it should be, ready to start grabbing, and that helped me out a lot today. This is my third ride, and then I'm confident enough now where I'm just gonna take the safety course. I have a permit, and the bike has plates and it's insured, but I don't have a license. I only have the permit. but I'm confident enough now where I'm going to sign up for the safety course, which they do in every borough here in the city, and work on getting the license. And then after that, I won't be as nervous fucking riding this on a permit only. On my second ride, I came to a stop sign. There was a fucking Nassau County cop and waiting in the cut trying to catch people running that stop sign. I fucking got so nervous I stalled the bike twice, and that was last week. So this is my third ride, and I think I got it as far as that launching off from first gear. That was like my biggest shit. Everything else I think I'm decent at, or at least good enough to perform when I take the safety course and not fucking pay $400 and something only to fail it. So I'm not going to push the envelope anymore trying to be riding out there in the street with just the permit. I'm gonna go get that license and then practice more without being nervous about not having the license.